Hey guys, I just wanted to make a quick video about a point of confusion that I've seen on the internet that needs some clarification, and I haven't seen any clarification on it, so I'm going to make a quick video to explain. This is what I call the missing link for the Lexus IS300 Air Box air filter or air cleaner. And the missing link is this bracket right here, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. First, let me just say, for the fitment issue, I know this is true for US IS300s. We only got the 3-liter engine. It only came as a Lexus. I know other markets have Altezzas and IS200s. There's at least 2 other engines. There's I think a straight 6 2-liter and a straight 4 2-liter. I don't know about those. This is just for the 3 liters. Or all I know is that this works for the 3 liters. It may or may not work for those. I don't know those configurations. Okay, so here is what's going on. I'm going to open up the air box. It's real easy to do. It's just these 3 clips. Right now I do not have a filter in because I'm going to show you some various options, so it's just empty. But here is the confusing part. When you first got the vehicle, it came with this brace holding a filter element into the airbox. And then when you put this cover over it, it kind of cinch, it puts there's 4 clips, 2 at the bottom, and then 2 at the top there in the corners that hold this thing and seal the filter element to the box so no air can get in around it. The problem is when you get an aftermarket filter, if you get an aftermarket filter, it looks like this. And the aftermarket filter does not fit with the bracket. Essentially, this plastic piece that's kind of firm is replaced by an integrated frame on the aftermarket element. So if I put the aftermarket element in, obviously there's no space for this. Okay, apologies for the bad video camera holding, but so here's the problem you face. If you want to get a high flow air filter, this is a K&N, with using the factory air box. I know a lot of you guys use the cold air intakes, but really this system is kind of a cold air intake on its own. It comes in here through the front before it gets to the radiator. I would almost argue this is colder air than if you have your cold air intake inside the engine bay next to the exhaust. But so really this is a good solution if you want to maximize your flow, is getting one of these aftermarket units, but it does require this bracket. Here's what happens. People buy it new. It comes with this bracket. I don't know if they all came with this bracket. Mine certainly did. I've owned this car since new. And what happens is when they put an aftermarket bracket in, they set the bracket aside. Some of them, then they lose it. Maybe they throw it away. But usually when you buy the car used, and nowadays you have to buy them used, they ain't making it anymore, you can't find this bracket. And so what'll happen is if you take out, if the previous owner took out the aftermarket air cleaner and you want to put in your K&N, this is not firm enough to hold on its own. Do not do this, because what will happen is you'll put it in there and it'll look pretty close, and those clamps will hold it at the 4 corners, but because this is a soft rubber surround, there's no plastic frame to it, it'll have a little gap, and then you will suck dirt into your engine, and that will be bad. Ask me how I know. And it will actually, hopefully the simplest thing is it just clogs your mass airflow sensor, which is right here. The sensitive elements will get coated in dirt and the car will start to run like a dog. But if you don't know about that, you might be like, oh, I got an intake leak, I got codes, it's running lean, I gotta look at I gotta do intake gaskets, or I gotta find it. Hopefully it's just your mass airflow sensor, but also you're running dirt through your engine. Theoretically, you could clog your if it doesn't burn up, you could clog your catalytic converter. So this could be a huge issue if you don't have a good seal on your air cleaner. So you cannot use the K&N air cleaner without this frame. So this begs the question, well, I bought it used and it had an aftermarket filter, so I don't have this frame, this bracket, this retainer, depending on what they call it. What do I do? And the short answer is I don't know. I looked up the Lexus scanned part list that everyone has on the internet, and I don't see a separate part number for this. It's almost like the factory wants you to use one like that. I don't know if you go to a Lexus dealer, I don't know if they give you an aftermarket, if the Lexus OEM continues to use this bracket, or if they went to this design as well as a replacement part. But I can't find a part number for this. If you call around, nobody knows what you're missing. By the way, I forgot to mention, this one is actually broken. There's a little I call it a handle that goes across here. I don't think it really matters. What matters most is that you have the outer frame, but mine broke off many years ago from just being tossed around in the garage, I'm sure. So anyway, so that's the issue, is you don't buy a K&N filter unless you have this retainer. Also, there are other filters. I bought this one, and this one is supposedly washable, but it's dry, and I liked it better than the K&N because I figured I don't want the oil from the K&N. If you do it, supposedly it's okay if you oil it correctly, but if you over oil it, it can clog your mass airflow sensor. So I'm like, oh, I'll just get a dry reusable one. It'll be a little simpler. By the way, I think the oiled ones are probably a little bit better, but that's speculation. So I'm like, okay, well then I'll use this. You'll also notice that this one does not fit with the bracket. I don't know what brand this was. It was a sort of a third-party, no-name brand. But I assume that they're all coming out of the same factory. So if you try and get the dry washable one, it will still require this bracket, but it won't fit it. So I consider this one, even though people online will sell you this with the fitment for an IS300, I think it's worthless because it's got the rubber, so it'll let air in around the seams. You need the bracket, but the bracket won't fit. So I see zero usefulness in any of these, and I think I'm just going to take a bath on this one. But anyway, that is a trick that is hopefully clarifies a point of confusion that some of you might be. That I've at least seen a couple comments online, people wondering what's going on and why this stuff doesn't fit right. But again, takeaway: you need a bracket if you're going to use one of these high flow filters with the rubber sides in the factory air box, and it will fit a K&N, but you'll still need it, and I can't get it to fit one of these at all. And whatever you do, don't use a soft side without something firm to hold it against the mating surface there. Theoretically, I don't know, maybe you could build one of these if you wanted to out of metal, cut it, but you know, that's up to you. Just don't rely on the rubber seal alone. All right, thanks, bye.